This is your one and only Firespark81 with your daily dose of video goodness. We are back with some more awesome Starbound tips, and today we are taking a look at storage and storage containers and how to optimize your storage and all of that good stuff. So let's get to it. First of all, there is a mod on the Steam Workshop that will greatly improve your sorting and basically improve your storage experience as a whole. So I've already done a mod spotlight for this mod, but I'm going to touch on it real quick. It's called Improved Containers. And if you're playing single player, I recommend you go out and get it and add it to your game. It won't really change your game experience if you want to just play vanilla and get the experience as it is. It won't really change that for you. It just really helps out a lot with managing your inventories and stuff like that. So if you look here, I've got extra buttons down at the bottom of this container. If I put one bandage in here and I click this button, you can see that it automatically sticks the rest of the bandages in there. Now, if I just have a couple bandages out like this and stuff's just placed all random and all over the place, and I hit this button, you can see that it auto sorts for you. You can also search for items and rename containers. So if you are playing single player or you personal friends with your admin of your server that you play on, I recommend playing with this mod. It is called Improved Containers. Okay, so now let's get to storage, just straight up vanilla storage. First thing we're going to look at, and I got a bunch of containers here. These are, in my opinion, your best options for containers. And I'm going to go through each of them, and I'm going to go through the pros and cons of them. So, first of all, we have the racial storage containers. And you can see that it says NovaKid Storage Locker. This is my racial storage container. It has 48 slots. They're super handy. They're really compact. And they're great for storing stuff. One of the downsides is, though, if you decide to do vertical storage, you can't jump on them. So what you would have to do in order to jump up and reach each of your storage lockers is put little ladders like this so that you can get to each of your lockers if you decide to do vertical storage. Other than that, there's really no cons to these. They got a really small footprint, they hold 48 things, and they're phenomenal. Next thing I want to talk about is one of the best storage options that you have. And if you see here, I have little signs above each of these that have a number above them. That is what it costs to print them out. So all of these can be printed except for the racial storage lockers, and that may be a reason why you don't want to use your storage locker for your race and you would prefer to use one of these others, because these can be kind of expensive to make. I think they take Durasteel, and if you're kind of low on Durasteel, you may not have the resources to make these, or you may want to put those resources to something else. So these other ones are great because you can just print them with pixels, which are easy to get. I got tutorials galore showing you guys how to get plenty of pixels. I'm sure many of you don't have any problems with that at all. So anyway, back to this storage locker. This is the Frontier Vault. It holds 64 items. It's got 64 slots in it, which is great. That's the most you can get. The only other thing with 64 slots is this big behemoth here. Well, there's another one that's different. Looks different than this, but it's still basically the same huge thing. Anyway, this has a nice small footprint. It's about 1 and a block or so bigger than your racial storage lockers. If you look, if I place this here, okay, so it's about 2 blocks bigger. So it's got a nice tiny footprint, and it holds 64 items. Now it costs $260 to print, which is not terrible. The one downside to it, however, is that they do not stack. So if I place one down and then I place another, you can see that it won't let me place on top of it, which is kind of disappointing because you can stand on them, so you would think that it would let you stack them, but you can't. So in order to get past that, if you want to do vertical storage, you could just put a little line out like that of a platform of your choice, and then you can place another storage locker or another vault, sorry, on top of it like that. So that's about the only downside to these, is the fact that they don't stack. Now you can do horizontal storage, and that's fine. You can just make a long tunnel of these and then set it up however you want and put little labels over top of them, and that's all fine and good. But I really like doing the vertical storage because it's a lot more compact than going horizontal. Now, next thing we have is these massive shipping containers, and these hold 64 slots, just like this little one over here. And once again, it can be printed if you scan it. And in order to add stuff to your printer, all you have to do is hit the letter N on your keyboard and it will bring up your scanner. I'm sure many of you already know that, and you scan these and it will add them to your pixel printer, which is this doodad right here. So this is going to cost you 625 pixels a piece. They're massive. However, they stack and you can jump on top of them, which is really freaking handy because you can just keep stacking them straight up and have an awesome tower of storage goodness. Other than their size, there's really no downsides to them. Like I said, 64 piece, massive. All right. Well, I mean, their cost is maybe a little bit of a downside. Next up, we have the Lunar base lockers. These can be found in the Lunar base, which is the very first base where you fight your first boss. They're easy to find, easy to scan. They only cost you 175 pixels. They hold 48 slots. They have a relatively small footprint and they stack and you can jump on them. So you can go vertical with these very easily and access each of your lockers really, really easily. Next up, we have the Undecorated stone tomb. Now, these can be found in the avian pyramids. I think that's where I found these. They only hold 32. However, they only cost 155 to print and they do not stack. But if you take and place a platform of your choice above it, and let's knock this sign off here real quick, you can place them like that. And they still have a very small footprint. So that's 64 items in a very small, I mean, it's only slightly bigger than this. So that is definitely an option if you want to go on the more cheaper side and a nice compact little storage setup. Okay, so now that we've talked about each of these containers, let's talk about ways that you can set these up. Now, one thing you can do is do rows and then stick labels above them like this. And you can see, like, you could do it just so it's at the top of your screen so you can easily see your sign and see that it's labeled like this is items. It's great. You can jump up to it, reach your top one, not a problem. The other thing you can do is knock all of these down. So I don't get confused, I'm going to stick these signs in here. We're going to grab our sign. You can put a platform of your choice down like that. Then place your sign labeling your storage containers. And then, oh, we got to make the platform a little bit bigger. And then you can place your containers like that. So if you do it this way, you can continue expanding your storage as much as you need vertically without any problems. You know, build your little home, build it however you want. Then if you run out of room, all you have to do is extend your roof up and then you can keep going upwards with it. And you can just run along the bottom and see, oh look, this is items, and then click it. Oh, there's nothing in there that I need, and go to the next. And then you can do the same thing with the storage lockers, which is really handy. And like I said, they're small and compact. The only downside is you can only go so high with these before you're not going to be able to reach them. So the option to fix that would be to leave a spacer between them like so, and then put a little platform every now and then you can just hop up your platform and go up that way. Now, the other thing you can do is do your storage horizontally, like we have here. And this is an option for these, since you probably don't want to stack them super high. I mean, if you want to, that's fine, but you're going to have to do this platform shenanigans each time. But if you only did these, say, 3 high, it would look really nice, and then you can just extend them horizontally to the left or to the right, whichever way you want, and then put your signs at the beginning. So you walk into your storage room, you're like, oh, okay, armor's on the bottom. I'm gonna look for the armor that I need and, you know, say, oh, okay, here, it's in this one. I found it. Awesome, great. Or you need blocks. You can go up here and look for your blocks. The other thing you can do is leave a little bit more of a space. So let's delete these. Let's go over here and grab an extra one of these signs. So you can put a sign like this here and then put your platform across the top. And then place your storage containers and then place a sign like this. So say this is like armor. This sign here could say helmets. And then, you know, all of your helmets are here. And then this sign could say blocks. Let's move this up just a little bit. Then you got this row that says blocks. So, you know, this is where all your blocks are, but say I want dirt. Well, I could just fill this one with dirt and then have this sign that's here say dirt. So that's a good option you can do for your storage, and you could do this as well for these. You could leave a space to the side and then have your, you know, extra signs labeling to really help you maximize how quick it is for you to find certain things. Okay, so the other thing you can do is color code. If you don't have the signs unlocked yet, which you may not because you have to defeat a certain amount of bosses before it unlocks the signs. I forget which one it is. I think it's the second boss you have to unlock before you do the signs. You can also color code with blocks. You can use your painter and your matter manipulator, or you can knock out a single block and then place a different kind of block in that spot. Now you think, okay, Fire, what is that going to do? That doesn't really tell me anything. And it does. After a little bit of time of opening this up for getting your storage containers, or opening this one up to get flags, or opening this one up to get your sensors, your brain will make a connection with these dots, whether it be color-coded or different type blocks, and you will eventually be able to run right over and be like, oh, okay, wood, that's my flags, or blue, that is my storage containers. And it'll take a little bit. You'll have to, you know, it'll be a few times of going to that container, but eventually your brain will make the connection, and every time you go over to your storage area, you will immediately know that this top one with this, whatever it is, concrete, has your sensors in it. So that's just something to keep in mind if you don't want to do a whole bunch of signs everywhere. You can also color code in that sense. You could even do the entire outside of it or in between each of your storage containers. So if you had another storage container over here, you could do, say, your concretes here in the middle of this one, and then do a different block in the middle of this one, and you're going to know always to the right that is the color that goes with the chest on the left, and your brain will make the connections thereafter. Let's fill these back in because that's going to bug me. Okay, now that I got off tangent a little bit, let's go over here and look at the stone tombs. You can do the same thing that you do with the vaults with the stone tombs, and you can see that they look really nice and neat. And granted, it's some strange storage and they only hold 32 a piece, but they are cheap and they are a good option for early game storage if you've managed to already unlock them. And you can make the signs and place them and all that good stuff. And the same thing goes with these large shipping containers. The downside to them is that you're gonna need a lot bigger space to house them. However, if you get them early game, they do hold a lot of stuff. So you may not need that huge cavernous space in order to hold tons of storage, because these may hold what you have pretty long until you have the resources to, say, make a whole bunch of your racial storage containers, or you've found the tombs, or you've found the Novakid vaults. So those are some options for, managing your storage. Let's talk about the signs real quick, because a lot of you may not know that the signs are there, or that they are a thing, or how to use them. So I'm just going to go over these real quick. So we're here at the two-stop teleshop, and we're going to go right over this way. We're going to hop up, continue going over this way to the left, and right here in the corner, this is your sign shop. Now, there are two parts to it. There's this part here and this part here. This is the part right here. This is the part that you design in, and this is the part where your signs show up at. This is also the part where you put signs in if you want to duplicate them. So let's go in here and let's go over some stuff real quick. So your sign can have lighting behind it. Your sign can be activated by wiring. This is your eyedropper tool to pick up a color. If I click this and then click this color, you can see that it changed to purple here. This is your fill tool. It's going to fill the whole area there with the color that you choose. All right, let's clear that. So those are your general tools. If you don't have anything selected over here, you just do a normal mark. You can click this rim to change the border. You can click these to change the inside. I really like the look of this one because it's really easy to write in this little space here. You can also click these arrows to move stuff. And then down here, you can actually do different frames to make animated signs. So you could do like a mark here, and then add a frame, and then move it, and then add a frame, and then move it, and so on, and make an animated sign. I haven't really done those yet, so I don't have much experience with those. I just know that it's possible. You can hit clear over here to clear what you have written in here, or whatever you have in here. Notice it didn't clear any of our other settings. It only cleared what we've marked. So let's mark something. Just scribble in there a little bit. And then we hit print. And it costs us nothing to print these. And then we go over here, and here is our sign. So we can pick our sign up. Now, I've done stuff, and I have my signs that I like, and I've done a bunch of things, and I've come back, and I'm like, okay, well, I restarted the game, and it's back to the default settings here, and I want my sign back so I can just print more of them. All you have to do is grab your sign, put it in this input slot, go over here, and click Scan Input, and now you can see that we have our blocks sign. So now I can just click Print a bunch of times, and then come back over here, and I have a bunch more block signs. So this is a quick rundown on the sign creator. You make use of this. This will help you a ton with managing your storage and knowing what is what and what's where, especially if you don't want to do the color coding. Well, I think that's going to call it for this episode. I hope this video was helpful to you guys and gave you some ideas to do with your storage. You can see that my storage, especially on my ship, is a complete disaster. I should actually listen to my own advice and do that, some of the stuff that I've suggested to you guys. I instead seem to be a glutton for punishment and like to just rummage through containers till I find what I'm looking for. Anyway, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you have pictures of your storage set up, also put links to them in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys have going on. If you're shy and you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Also, if you're not already, make sure you're following me on Twitter for awesome channel updates and other goodies. Until next time, thanks for watching.